The difference between who you are and who you want to be is your perfectionism and your self-doubt. Let's talk about it. Okay, I woke up this morning and I knew I had on my schedule to film videos, and I did not want to do it. I woke up and I was like, I don't want to do this. And the reason was not because I don't like doing it. I love filming. I love talking to a camera. I'm a performer just by career. I'm studying songwriting. I've always been a musician, and I did acting when I was younger, and I've always loved that. That is who I am. I love to talk. I was always good at public speaking. I took speech in high school, loved it so much. I'm probably going to take speech in college because I just am in love with it. So I woke up and I was like, I do not want to film these videos. And the reason was not because I don't like it. It was because I tend to be very perfectionist, and I thought they weren't going to be good enough. Because I have like 2 videos up right now, and I didn't want to have to go to my YouTube page and post a video and see 4 views on one of my videos. And that's perfectly normal. I mean, I don't know anyone who started YouTube, posts their first video, and it skyrockets and it does really, really well. Because it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that way. And I honestly, I looked at my background, I was like, this is, in my apartment, this is the best place I can film because it's the only place where I have natural light, and I don't have enough money to get lighting right now, and I don't have enough money to get a microphone. And I didn't want to film because I was like, the lighting's not going to be good enough, the sound is not going to be good enough, the background is not aesthetic, it's not going to be right, so I don't want to do it at all. And I took a deep breath, and I was like, first, let's just go to class and get the other things I need to do in my day out of the way, and then think about it. But I was like, okay, Nora, this is something you want to do. You know that it's not going to be perfect in the beginning. And the point and the way you're going to get this done, the way you're going to achieve your goals with this, is to just do it. Because no one who has achieved anything big at the very beginning has been very good at what they're doing. Because unless you're like Mozart or someone, you don't wake up and be 5 years old and be really, really good at whatever you're trying to do and whatever you're going to achieve in life. It just doesn't happen. You have to start somewhere. And if you're not able to comprehend the fact that you achieving your goals will have to start with you not doing them perfectly, then you're never going to get there. And I think us as a society and us as young people, honestly, just have such a fear of not being perfect and such a fear of looking stupid, someone judging us, something like that. But it's part of it. And what you need to know is that you not being perfect at the beginning is part of achieving your goal at the end. It's what it's supposed to look like. So if you're okay with sitting with the imperfection of it and just doing it because you have fun and you like doing it, then you're golden, you're solid. Because all you have to do is keep waking up and keep choosing it. And guess what? You're going to get better at it every day. Because honestly, I tried to film 2 more videos before this. I didn't like it. The speech didn't flow naturally. I felt like I couldn't do it, and I had to try again. And that's where I am right now. That's me being honest. Because nothing is perfect. You're not going to get perfection. And no one likes perfection. Perfection, it's pretty, but it's not, they lack substance. Perfection is gorgeous, but it doesn't feel like anything. And a lot of times, especially with artists, people don't want something that's perfect. People don't want something that sounds fake and sounds too precise. It's much better when it sounds raw and it has that human characteristic to it. That's why everyone can tell when a song is made by AI, because it has no voice behind it. It has none of those voice cracks that you get from vocalists, or it doesn't have that drumming beat that's a little bit off and it's a little bit rushed. It just sounds fake. And I think especially with YouTube, or if you're a content creator, imperfection is cherished. I think if you look back at some of the most popular YouTube creators of all time, one of them being Emma Chamberlain, she's why I started watching YouTube. Honestly, got me through middle school. I loved her so much. And I loved her because of her authenticity and because what she was filming wasn't perfect. Like, she would film videos, she wouldn't have makeup on, her hair wouldn't be done. It would be in a random setting. And she would talk about authenticity, and it just made me feel so much better about myself and made me feel like I was okay to just live and just experience things. And she would, like, I remember her really, really early days when she wasn't like that successful yet, and she was just doing it because she was having fun with it. And she would make these like vlogs of her going to high school, and she would wake up late, be honest, and be like, yeah, I didn't get my homework done, I stayed up late and I like barely got it done. I stayed up late and I barely got my homework done, and now I'm rushing to school and I'm rushing to go get a coffee because I'm addicted to caffeine and I don't have time and I need to go get this and I don't want to be at school and all that kind of stuff. And Emma Chamberlain would not have been able to help those people that she helped with her real story and her authenticity if she had been fake the whole time and was like, I got all my homework done and I'm so organized and all that kind of stuff, because it wasn't real. People value authenticity more than they value perfection. And authenticity oftentimes feels better than trying to reach perfection. Another thing on this topic is like, self-doubt isn't actually a real thing. It's just something in your head. I think a lot of times when I've had these huge self-doubts about myself, like when I was in high school and I had classes that were hard and I had these thoughts in my head like, I can't do this, I'm not good at science or whatever it was, and I'm not gonna be able to get this done, it's just not true. I always kind of looked at those and I looked at them as fact, and I think I kind of got into a habit of doing that. Like, anytime I had a self-doubt about myself pop into my head, like, for instance, I can't be a content creator. The content I create is not going to be good. No one's going to watch it, everything like that. I would kind of, obviously adopting these self-doubts, the reason we have self-doubts is because it makes us feel safer and it keeps us in our comfort zone. I kind of grabbed onto it. I was like, okay. And then I kind of looked at it as though it was a fact. And it's not until recently that I've kind of had this awakening and I've realized these things aren't true. They're only true if you make them true. For example, if I was, let's say I was like 8 years old and I wanted to learn how to ride a bicycle and I was really scared of it. And I had in my head this idea that I'm not gonna be able to do this. If I get on that bicycle, I'm gonna fall and break my leg or whatever fear like an 8-year-old would have in that situation. If I had that in my mind and I had that fear in my mind and I'm like, I'm never gonna be able to ride a bicycle because of this, and I adopt that into fact, it becomes fact. Because I'm gonna take that fear and I'm gonna stick with it, and I'm never gonna actually be able to learn how to ride a bicycle because I'm not gonna do it. So it's this very, very tricky scenario that you get yourself into where you have this self-doubt and you can choose to adopt it and choose to make it fact, or you can choose to push it away and choose to make something else fact. And those two versions of yourselves are completely different. And then you have your self-doubt and your perfectionism in the middle. You have this version of yourself that wants to stay in your comfort zone and that wants to adopt these doubts as fact. And then you have these ideas in your mind, and then you're going to act off of these ideas. And then you have this version of yourself who is like, no, I don't want that to be my fact. I don't want that to be what I am acting off of. I'm going to say, no, wait, I actually think I can ride a bicycle. With enough help and enough practice, I'm going to be able to do this. And you adopt that as fact, then it becomes fact. So you have who you are now and all your self-doubt and all your perfectionism and feeling like you can't do it. And then you have your self-doubt in the middle. And then you have you over here that is like, no, this is not fact. I'm going to act off of something different. And that's the only thing stopping you. Because really, all you are is what you do. We are defined by our actions. If I want to be a successful person, what is going to make me a successful person is not the thoughts in my mind. Yes, the thoughts in your mind propel your action, but we are defined by action. If I want to be a successful person, I have to be disciplined and I have to wake up every day and work towards my goals and make myself successful to be defined that way. So you are not, if you can get yourself to do these actions and have these thoughts in your brain and become and act out those actions, that's how you're going to be. You're defined by these actions. So I also think that the tricky thing about perfectionism is that it can kind of just disguise itself as motivation, especially for me. Because like we were talking about, you have these two versions of yourself, the version of yourself that's limited by self-doubt, and then you have the version of yourself that's not. I think a lot of times I will be over here and I would want something, and then I would see this perfect version over here, and I would think I have to immediately jump to this side. I would think that doing the work and choosing to do what I wanted to do and actually doing the action would immediately propel me over here. And there would be no timeline of the growth and all that kind of stuff. And that's just not true. And if you think that, then you're never gonna go on the little journey that's so amazing and that's so beautiful. So you gotta realize that this final version of yourself is kind of far away, but that's okay because you're on the path. Anyway, another thing that's just been really important for me to realize is that, especially as I'm 19 right now, I'm in young adulthood. My actions right now and my thoughts right now and my lifestyle right now is just shaping what I want my whole life to be. There's a lot of choices that I'm making. And for like the first time ever, I have a life in front of me that I get to decide what to do with it. And I've always been like a very ambitious person, and I've always wanted to achieve a lot. And I get these goals in my mind and I get hyperfixated on them. And then that's kind of all that matters to me. And I will get really, really passionate about these goals. And I'm like, okay, if I have to wake up at 4 a.m. every day and spend every single second of my waking hours working towards this, no matter how hard it is, it's going to be worth it. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to get here and I'm going to have this thing. But I realized that after like trying to, obviously not that extreme, but after trying to put these plans in motion, I'm not having any fun doing these things. And a lot of times goals that I'm trying to reach, it's because I want to get there because I enjoy doing things and it's something that makes me happy and I want to get there. Like for example, music. Like let's say a goal of mine is to work with a small record company. So I'm like, every day I'm gonna wake up at 4 a.m. and practice music, and I'm just gonna practice all the time, and there's gonna be no fun in it, and it's all gonna be worth it because at the end of the day, I'm gonna get this record deal. The thing that I don't tell you is that it doesn't stop there. You're not gonna get there and be like, okay, now I don't have to work anymore. You have to work harder. Once you reach your goal, you're gonna have to turn the notch up. Now I'm at this small record company. Okay, great, now I want my songs to do better. Now I have to work not to get dropped by this record company. Now everything turns on. And then you just become miserable because it's even more than it was before. And you're not really reaching anything. You're just in this cycle of hard work all the time and not really living in the moment. And I think I've realized that you can balance these two things out. And you can find a balance between wanting to reach your goals and having fun while doing it. Because really, the reason why I would want to sign with a record company is because I love playing music and I love writing music. So why work really hard to get there if I'm losing the love I have for it? Like, there's no point. So that's just another thing on the topic of perfectionism and self-doubt and all that kind of stuff. And I guess just the moral of the story is that none of this stuff is real. It is not fact. You are defined by your actions, not your thoughts, and your thoughts prompt your actions. These thoughts you can change to move your actions to change who you are. That it's as simple as that. These self-doubts in your head, they're not real. And if you don't want them to be real, they're not. But whatever you adopt and whatever you let affect your actions, that is real. So just be careful with it. It's a slippery slope, but then it can be really, really good in the other way. I don't know what the opposite of a slippery slope is. The good version of that, I don't know, flying high, who knows? But it can be whatever you want it to be. So, I don't know. Hope that helped. I love to make videos like this. As you can probably tell from this video, I am a very goal-oriented person, and I have a goal of a certain amount of subscribers. So if you want to hit that subscribe button and get notified of my videos, I make videos about a ton of things, basically a lot of lifestyle content, a lot of that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you like that kind of stuff, stick around. But I hope this video helped you, and just remember that your self-doubts are not real, and if I can do it, you can do it.